Hi, my name's Dan Island. I'm the founder of Awareful and Mindfulness in Jersey and the Growth from Trauma Centre out here on the Gold Coast. And it's awesome to be speaking to you about a simple tool to manage stress more effectively on this National Stress Awareness Day. So a little bit of my background. In 2002, I was diagnosed with a couple of acute anxiety disorders and chronic depression. I'd come back from what I would say was an incredibly unsuccessful World Championships, just missing out on the final by one place. And I didn't just carry the weight of failure on my shoulders, I felt like I was also carrying the weight of letting down my whole country. And I had these wonderful psychologists that taught us how to win, but never taught us how to lose. And of course, schooling never gave us any tools or techniques to begin to manage this enigma that we call the mind. And so I went on and struggled for 10, 12 years, moved over to Jersey a couple of years later. Remember filling out an application form that said, have you got a criminal record in the last 5 years? And of course I said no. And underneath that, it said, do you or have you been diagnosed with depression? And I remember thinking, there's no way I'm ticking that box. So I learnt how to hide it. And I guess more importantly, I found a group of guys that played rugby and went and learnt how to bottle up all of that aggression and then inflict it on 15 people completely legally, of course, during rugby for the next 10 or 12 years until I sort of landed into this mindfulness meditation realm, which, it helped me to find a way of better managing this emotional system that I have and find more self-awareness and emotional regulation, which means that I ended up moving away from playing rugby just because I was able to control myself a lot better, a lot simpler, and I found myself being more effective in highly stressful situations. So that's a little bit of my background. We're going to be doing a practice today called 7-11 breathing. Now, if you think within us, we've got this autonomic nervous system. Within that autonomic nervous system, we've got two main nervous systems. One, in particular, we know as the sympathetic, or what you might know as the stress response system. And on the other hand, we've got the parasympathetic system, or what we might know as the relaxation response system. And what we begin to recognize is actually we can manipulate these systems through different types of techniques. Like I'm sure some of you may have tried the Wim Hof technique and things like that, which is really activating the stress response system. It's motivating us, it's flooding us full of hormones that why you can do 10 or 20 more push-ups in a minute doing breathing in that particular way, because that's what that system's designed to do. It's designed to push you further, push you harder, floods the body with oxygen as well, that particular practice. But no one really talks about the types of breathing practices that begin to access this relaxation response system. And the 7-11 does that. Now, for some people, breathing practices are tough, so my apologies if this becomes unenjoyable for you. Please, I don't want you to feel like you have to do it. If at any point it begins to be more of a struggle than an enjoyment, please stop. There's loads of other techniques out there. But for everyone else, it's really simple. It's a count of 7 in and a count of 11 out. Now, it's not 7 seconds and 11 seconds, although it will be there or thereabouts. And my apologies that some of you are probably going to be deep breathers and some of you are going to be shallow breathers. This is going to be a one-size-fits-all type of practice. So when we do this particular breathing practice, to begin to send messages to our brain and body that actually we're in control, that our environment is okay, and we can begin to settle down our stress response system. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just begin to send the messages to say actually we're in more control than we realize, and just to calm the system down. Now, this particular practice you can do for a minute or 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as long as you like. You're just breathing. And a wonderful symptom, a wonderful side effect of this practice is that you feel more relaxed, incredibly. So, when we do this practice, we're going to breathe in through our nose and breathe out through our mouth. And what I want you to try and do, I want you to get to a point where there's no air left in your system. You're squeezing, there's nothing left in your system. That's where I want you to be at sort of the 10 and 11 count on the breath out. Now you don't need to do any crazy noises, no need to, but you're going to breathe in for the count of 7, breathe out for the count of 11 5 times with me, and then I'm going to ask you to do it 4 times on your own. Okay, so you don't need to count aloud. You can do all the counting in your head, and when it's your turn, change it around. Like if you do shallow breathe, just sort of changing it around so that it's a bit shorter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of thing, rather than the 1, 2, 3, which we will be doing. Now, before we start this, what I'd like to know is, if you could scale yourself, 1 being sort of the most calmest you've ever been and 10 being the most anxious and stressed you've ever been, where are you on that scale? Just giving yourself a number. And would you be impressed if I could take you down a couple of notches in 2 or 3 minutes? Right? Okay, well, let's get started. Remember, it's 7 in, 11 out, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Don't need to make any crazy noises. And imagine breathing all the way down into the bottom of our lungs and squeezing the last parts out on the as we get to 10 and 11. Okay? Now you can do this with your eyes open or closed. I'll have my eyes both open and closed because there's nothing weirder than sort of someone staring at you while you're trying to do your work. So, with me, breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I want you to do it 4 more times. Remember, counting 7 in and 11 out, doing your best. In through the nose, out through the mouth, trying to breathe right the way down to the bottom of our lungs and really squeezing those last bits out. Enjoy. Okay, so how are you feeling? You notice a little bit of a difference? 2 minutes, that's all it takes. Like I said, you can do this anytime, any place. Works wonderfully well after a stressful situation, but also works wonderfully well before you're going into a stressful situation to make sure we keep that rational part of our brain intact. Thank you again so much for the opportunity. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to come back to me. Have an amazing rest of your day.